What's good with the fight fans, man? It's Kijana back with a recap video of Brunson versus Till. This is going to be my full card recap video. I'm going to break down some of these fights. And yeah, man, it was a pretty decent card. The Paddy Pimblett fight was fucking crazy. I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh, he's a hype train, this and that. But, I mean, the dude's got hands, man. He looks like somebody from the Beatles or fucking Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange, but the dude's fucking got hands, so... I like him. I like his personality and shit. But yeah, I'm going to start off with the prelims real quick. The first fight, early prelim, Dolce Lungimbala versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I ended up picking Dolce in my video. I didn't pick Marc-Andre at all. He was a good favorite to pick. I did pick him in my parlays because I had a feeling that if it went the distance that Dolce would lose. But I did a switch out on that one. I ended up picking Dolce in my in one of my parlays as well, just as an underdog. I think he was like a plus 125 or something like that. Dolce wasn't a bad pick, but at the same time he kind of was, because Marc-Andre Barriault, he has 4 decision losses. He's never been finished. And Lungimbala, he tends to just wind up on all his punches, and he just looks for the haymaker. He looks for the home run every single time. He doesn't throw straight punches at all, which Daniel Cormier and Bisping both commented on that. And I noticed that too with all of his past fights. He just looks for a haymaker, and that's it. That's really all he has. He's got good double leg takedowns. He's very fucking strong, just physically gifted. I mean, he probably had to put in a lot of work as well, but the dude's fucking physically gifted. The dude, he's an athlete for sure. It seems like a lot of the African fighters are like that. They're just, yeah, their body type, everything about them is just meant to do fucking this fighting and shit. So I don't know, I guess that sounds kind of stereotypical, but there's a little truth behind it, in my own opinion. But yeah, it wasn't like a crazy exciting fight. It was good for like a prelim opener. Marc-Andre just had too much pressure, too much volume, and Dolce he gassed out, which is usually what happens. He usually gasses out by the mid-second round, late second round. In the third round, he just really doesn't have much. And he was on his back foot for most of the fight, which is never good. Yeah, good performance by Marc-Andre. Next fight, I'm very fucking bummed about this. I would have came up thousands of dollars if Charles Jourdain would have fucking won. Another one of these fucking underdog or favorites that loses for me. It's weird. I usually do really good with certain underdog picks, but then like when it comes to picking a favorite, one of my favorites always loses in my parlays. I usually break even, or for the most part, I would say like 70% of the time on my parlays, I'll break even, and then the other 30% of the time I'll usually win. Not a ton of money, but sometimes it'll be a ton, but for the most part, it's usually breaking even or just doubling my money or something like that. But anyways, I went off track. Julian Erosa, dude, a plus 160, a great underdog pick. I forgot how big he was. I forgot that this was a catch weight. I should have did a little bit more research before the fight. I didn't realize they were fighting at a catch weight, and I didn't realize he was 6'1" and Charles Jourdain was 5'9". I wasn't paying attention. I was just so fixed on picking Charles Jourdain because he has really good kickboxing fundamentals, and Julian Erosa's been knocked out 4 or 5 times. So I thought that Charles Jourdain was going to clip him with something, a nice roundhouse kick, jumping roundhouse kick like he likes to do, or just something crazy, a flying knee. I thought he was going to catch Julian Erosa with something slick and was going to knock his ass out. And he did catch him with something in the second round. I thought a lot of people were giving Julian Erosa the first round. I seen it differently. I thought that Charles Jourdain edged him a little bit in the first round, even though Erosa looked really good. They both looked really good in the first round. It could have went either way. I thought Charles Jourdain got the first round, and I also thought that he got the second round because he dropped him. And then in the third round, he slipped up and got caught in the darce choke. Julian Erosa is really good with his darce chokes. He's really good with just chokes in general. He's got good submissions because he's got long arms. Not just that, he's just a really fucking good fighter. And he's a good skateboarder too. So, I mean, I should have just went with Julian Erosa on this one. The dude's tough, but like I said before, it's really hard for me to pick fighters that have been KO'd 3, 4, 5 times. Even if it's a TKO, it's not as bad as if it's, for me, it's not as bad if it's a TKO. If it's like if you've been flatlined 3 times or more, I probably won't pick you. I'll just stay away from the fight. But this one I thought was a for sure fucking come up. I thought Charles Jourdain was going to win. He was in all my parlays for the most part. I think there was one that I ended up breaking even. Luckily, I did a smaller parlay and I ended up breaking even, and it didn't have Charles Jourdain in it. But good performance by both fighters. He just got caught slipping. Yeah, great underdog pick though. I wish I would have picked him on DraftKings, because that was the only difference between me and first place was not picking Julian Erosa. Yeah, next fight, Jack Shore, dude, versus Ludovic Sholinian. I didn't see much from Sholinian. I didn't think that he was that great of a fighter. I think he was also coming in on short notice, and Jack Shore was just the better fighter everywhere, literally everywhere. I thought that he could have finished him. I thought he could have did a little bit more in the fight to finish him, but he didn't. Good performance by him. Not really a super exciting fight, because it just seemed really one-sided. It kind of seemed, I don't know, it seemed like he was running circles around the guy, and that he was just toying with him, and he could have pretty much finished him whenever he wanted, but he didn't. So I was a little bummed that he didn't get the finish. I did pick Jack Shore in all my parlays. Great pick. I also picked him in some DraftKings lineups. I had about 10 DraftKings lineups going, some dollar bets. Jack Shore didn't get as many fantasy points as I thought he would. I thought he was going to get a second round finish, submission victory, and he didn't get it. But still a great pick as a parlay. At the same time, it wasn't a great pick because he was like a negative 600. When I picked him up, he was like a negative 450 or 5. I think he was a 5, negative 500 in the beginning of the week. Usually I try to get my picks out earlier because the odds are more in your favor. But at the same time, yeah, shit could change. Next fight, Molly Mccann versus Ji Yeon Kim. I did a few lineups on DraftKings with both of these fighters. I put them literally in the same lineup because I knew that they were going to go the distance. I didn't see any of them getting knocked out. I didn't see a submission going on. I thought that they were going to go unanimous decision or a split decision, and could have won either way. I said this was a coin toss. I put a question mark on my notes on this one. Molly Mccann just hits harder. She's more aggressive. She pressures her opponent. She's still a flat-footed fighter, but she knows how to cut the cage off. She's tough, dude. That chick's fucking tough for sure. And Ji Yeon Kim, she's just not that great of a fighter in my own opinion. I feel like that she has her chin too high. She doesn't use her range well. She tends to back up a lot. She can't really take a punch that well. I mean, Molly Mccann did give her some good punches and she took them, but I think if she fights a really strategic kickboxer, she's gonna get caught with a kick to the face or something, or she's gonna get caught with something bad. Like, I was talking about it during the fight. I was saying that I was talking to my girlfriend about this, saying like both of these chicks could be in the ring with Shevchenko, and they'll both get their ass kicked at the same time because Shevchenko is so fucking strategic. If she fights anybody at that kind of a level, which Jin Yeon Kim will probably never get to a point where she's fighting anybody that good. I feel like she's always going to be fighting kind of average fighters, even though Molly's a little bit, I'd say after watching that performance, I'd say she's a little bit better just because of her grittiness and her heart. But Kim is just not, I don't really think she's UFC caliber, even though she's beaten a few opponents. I just don't think she is. She doesn't have any like strength really or any power behind her punches, which I know it's flyweights and it's chicks flyweight division, but at the same time, like, you've seen how hard Molly hits, but also you see the difference of body type. Kim is more of a volume striker. Molly's kind of a volume and power striker at the same time. She threw some good combos. I enjoyed watching that fight. But I can see why the odds makers made them both negative 110s. I ended up picking Molly in my parlays, and I think I picked Kim in my video only because of the reach advantage. But I was iffy on that one. I was gonna make a video switching that pick, but it was such a coin toss. There was no point in making it. But yeah, like I said, in DraftKings, I picked both of them because I thought they were both gonna get like 50 or 60 fantasy points each, which would have been a good lineup. It's one of those tricky ones. Okay, now we're on to the main card. Patty the Batty Pimblett versus Luigi Vendramini, man. I'm on the hype train, man. I've actually been a fan of Patty for a minute, though. I watched some of his fights before he got into the UFC. The dude's fucking good, man. He's good. And I didn't like how his chin was in the air. It had me a little nervous. He did get stunned. I'm not gonna say he got totally rocked or anything like that, but he did get he got hit with some shit in that fight for sure. And it definitely stunned him a little bit, but the dude is fucking game, dude. He's ready to fight. He likes to throw down. He seems like he's versatile. I could see him getting into the top 15, maybe the top 10 after a few fights. I don't see him being championship material, but I do see him getting into that top 10 eventually and fighting some of these bigger names, and it's going to be exciting to watch. And I just like his personality, man. He's one of those fighters that just don't give a fuck. He just acts himself and he doesn't really care. A lot of people are saying he's acting like Conor, he's doing this, he's doing that. Everybody wants to say someone's acting like Conor, and it's like people are themselves as well. Some people just naturally act like that. Some people are naturally just out there a little bit, and they have like a big personality, a big aura. And he's one of those people, and it attracts a lot of eyes. It just people are going to be attracted to this guy just because of his personality and his fighting style. It has nothing to do with people trying to act like Conor. Some people probably are trying to act like him, but at the same time, you can tell this guy's just himself. And I like that. I mean, he doesn't give a fuck. He has the bowl haircut and shit like that from 1970s and shit. And the dude just don't care. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm a fan. But yeah, that was a great knockout, man. It was a fucking great knockout. I had him in every single DraftKings lineup, and I had him in all my parlays. I was just confident in him. I didn't see anything that Luigi was really going to bring to the table. Patty the Batty, man. I like it. I like it. I'm excited to watch him fight again. Hopefully he gets a short notice fight and he gets to step in, because he didn't really take any damage other than one shot and like 2 leg kicks or some shit. Next fight, Modestas Bukaskis versus Khalil Roundtree. I really fucked up on this one because I picked Khalil Roundtree in my video, and I picked him in like 2 DraftKings lineups, but I just didn't pick him at all in any and really too many of my parlays. I think I picked him in like 1 parlay, and he was a great underdog pick. But the only thing is, like I said in my video, he is very iffy to pick, because one minute he's there emotionally and physically, and the next minute he's not. And what I mean by that is, like, he just shows up to a fight sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't. And when he shows up, I've said this multiple times, when he shows up, dude, the dude can beat anybody in that fucking ring or in that octagon. Khalil Rountree's a bad motherfucker, dude, and I like him. I like his personality. He's down to earth. He's chill. Doesn't really seem like he would be a fighter. He seems like a normal guy. And I like that shit, man. He's kind of a quiet, peaceful, humble dude. Kind of stays out of the spotlight. He just does his own thing. You can tell he kind of deals with certain emotions and certain things that kind of play dividend in his fight career and his fight game. I think that he wouldn't have. I think the only person that he probably would have lost to, and possibly could beat now, is I think he could beat Johnny Walker on a good night. I really do. I think Johnny Walker caught him with something, but I think if it went 3 rounds, Khalil Roundtree, he has the gas tank now. He has the style to beat fighters like that. And he looked fucking phenomenal versus Modestas. I didn't see anything Modestas was really going to bring other than his height advantage and his reach advantage. I thought he might be able to use that against Khalil, because Khalil tends to not do as good versus fighters that are taller and rangier than him. That's what I've noticed, at least. But it was a great underdog pick. It was a good performance. I'm glad that he won the fight. He deserves it. You can tell the dude puts in a lot of work. Next fight, Alex Murano versus David Zwada. Very disappointed in this fight. This was a coin toss. I put a question mark by it. I ended up picking David Zwada only for the simple fact that he's an underdog. But I did feel like Alex Murano was probably going to edge him with a split decision. Ended up being a unanimous decision. Murano's tough. He can get the job done anywhere. He can strike with you. He was piecing up David Zwada, honestly. Zwada didn't really have too much for him. And Murano's just tough, dude. The guy's good. He can take you to the ground. He can submit you. He can strike with you. He's kind of, the one thing I don't like about him is he throws looping ass shots, but that's just the way he fights. He doesn't ever throw a straight jab or a straight cross. His shit's always looping, and it's really easy to get knocked out like that. If you fight if one of these UFC fighters like fights a real boxer or something like that, that's just fundamentally sound and knows how to throw straight punches. If they fight him just stand up, they're probably going to get pieced the fuck up. They're plain and simple. A lot of these UFC fighters just throw looping ass strikes, and I'm not really sure where this is like taught or where people are learning how to throw punches like this. But growing up, I mean, I don't know. Growing up, I used to box and shit, and I never threw punches like that. I've always thrown straight jabs and straight crosses. So I'm just, I don't know, maybe it's something, a habit, like people get used to throwing punches like that. But throwing straight punches, you get straight to the target faster. But then again, people have their own style. They have their own way of doing shit. And I just feel personally that throwing straight punches is a lot better than throwing looping shit. The only looping shit you should be throwing is really your hooks. And those should be tight. Real tight to your body. They shouldn't be super far out there to where your chin's out in there and shit like that. You should be keeping your shit tucked. But like I said, it's easier said than done. I'm not a UFC fighter. I'm just saying from my own perspective, I feel like more of these fighters need to learn just stiff jabs and stiff crosses instead of fucking trying to throw these looping haymakers. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. But this is the UFC. This isn't boxing. So next fight, Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Spivak. Tom Aspinall is a fucking savage, dude. Big fan of him. Super humble. Seems like another chill dude. Another guy from the UK. I mean, I'm a fan of a lot of these UK fighters right now, man. I mean, not just right now, but just in general. I like their fucking fighting style. They're gritty. They got a lot of heart. They got a lot of pride. I like it, man. Tom Aspinall is the truth. I had a feeling it was going to be a first or second round KO or TKO, possibly a submission. But Sergey just didn't have an answer, dude. Tom hits too hard. He's too precise. He's got better footwork, and he's just an overall better fighter. And yeah, he was a great. I thought he was going to be a negative 300, negative 350. I thought for sure he was going to be a crazy favorite, but I guess people didn't see it that way. People seen Sergey was a little bit closer, and he ended up being like a plus 150. Yeah, but I had him in all my parlays, had him in all my DraftKings lineups. I mean, I couldn't not. He was worth it. The next fight, Derek Brunson versus Darren Till. I ended up picking Derek Brunson. I don't remember who I picked in my video. I have to look back, but I'm pretty sure that I might have picked Darren Till because I'm a fan of Darren Till. I'm not a huge fan of Derek Brunson. I used to be more of a fan of Derek Brunson, but just little things kind of, I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of his personality, honestly. That plays a huge part. It's not just a huge part, and it's not just about their fighting style. I want to see like how the person acts like outside of fighting, and if they seem like a cool, chill dude, then I'll probably be a fan of them. But yeah, Derek Brunson, we already know what he was coming to do. He was coming to get takedowns, and he pretty much got them easily. Darren Till didn't have an answer for any of the takedowns, and Darren Till is just he's on a bad losing, just downward spiral. Like even the wins that he's had have been like split decision or just not entertaining. Like it's not the old Darren Till that we seen against Cowboy Cerrone, even though Cowboy Cerrone was old at the time, and it wasn't really impressive to me just because he was old at the time. I picked Cowboy Cerrone to beat him in that fight just because I'm a huge fan of Cerrone, but at the same time, like, yeah, man, Derek Brunson just, I don't know. It's crazy because Derek Brunson actually had decent striking when he first got into the UFC. He had mainly the wrestling, but his striking he was knocking people the fuck out when he first got in, but now he seems timid. He doesn't seem like the same, like, I know he's based around wrestling. That's his go-to, but at the same time, like, he flinches up, he closes his eyes sometimes when he swings and shit like that. I've broken down a few of Derek Brunson's fights, and I mean, he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. He's very well-rounded, but I think he needs to improve his striking skills because he didn't look good at all on the feet versus Darren Till, but he did throw some good feints leading into some double leg takedowns that he got, and Darren Till just didn't have an answer once he got into that rear naked choke. It was done. Even though the way that he did get rocked, the way that they got into that position was, I'm not going to say luck because nothing's really, some stuff's luck, but at the same time, like, it's still skill, and he knew what exactly to do in that situation. But yeah, he got put in that full mount, and Darren Till just rolled over and Derek put him in that submission, and it was a good performance. He was a great underdog pick. I picked him in my DraftKings lineups, and I picked him in my parlays. I mean, the only one that fucked it all up was Charles Jourdain. If he would have won, it would have been racks on racks on racks. But shit happens. Like I said, we always have the next weekend to bet on some of these. I didn't lose anything. I broke even, so it's never bad. But yeah, man, I think the most entertaining fight for me was the Paddy Pimblett one. He's the hype train, and he deserves to be the hype train because the dude's fucking good. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, and I'm gonna be dropping my next fight card video out sometime this week, probably early. And yeah, I don't think there's any fights this weekend, but it's gonna be for the next weekend, so I'll probably put them out this week. Fuck it, put them out early for you guys, and hopefully you guys made some money off my picks. And yeah, man, give me up more subscribers, man. Let your friends know, let whoever know. If you're following me, let them know to go subscribe and roll with my picks, man, because for the most part, no cockiness or nothing like that, but for the most part, I'm pretty accurate on my picks. Yeah, stay safe.